Hello, welcome to the sixth game of the finals of the World Championship Through the Ages. This is the standings I showed you after my previous game. After my two-player games against Martin Pecheur and E5 were finished, these were the standings. Meanwhile, Martin Pecheur and E5 have also finished their two-player game, and it was won by Martin Pecheur, who moves up to 15 points now, and everything else remains as it is. Now, just today, all three remaining three-player games finished within a few hours of each other. So meaning the game I'll show you today, which is my game against Weidenbaum and E5, sorry, not Martin, against E5 and Weidenbaum. And then the other game that finished for me was the one with Martin Pecheur and Weidenbaum, which we will do a triple commentary for, which will be recorded in a few days. So that will be very interesting. And also the one remaining three-player game that finished was the one that I wasn't involved in. So all three of those games finished within a few moments of each other, let's say. And that means, yeah, there is now a lot of information about the standings. I will not in this video reveal what happened in the other games or what the standings are now. I'll just show you this game, and yeah, since they all finished simultaneously, the reveal will be for the commentary that we do, the three of us together. I expect most of you follow Discord and whatever and have some idea already, or already know what the standings are after those games, but I will not show it in this video for those of you who don't know it yet. With that, let's move on to the game. There are leaders and wonders in this game as usual, and E5 has the first position. I'm in last position, and E5 takes Hammurabi, best leader in my opinion, so that's logical. And then of remaining, Boudica is clearly the best card on the 1 and 2 spots combined. So Weidenbaum will just take him and take her and the stockpile. And then I'll take the Roman roads for 3 actions. My opponents don't have wonders yet. This is the only wonder on the card row. There are some good wonders coming, pyramids and library potentially coming, of course. But yeah, it's just nice to have the wonder because maybe these don't come out, or one of them doesn't come out, and then I won't have a wonder. If you look at the H1 wonders, there are some good ones though. Also some of the worst ones, I think, for a first wonder, like Taj Mahal is just the worst one, and Great Wall, St. Pete's, not really optimal first wonders either. But the two strongest as first wonders are both in. But yeah, also otherwise I could take Cleopatra and Urban Growth, I suppose. But yeah, then I risk having Cleopatra with no wonder, which is just bad. Not gonna take anything else, so I think Roman roads is just a clear choice here. And I probably get Ash as my leader. I don't know if there's Toto as well, so yeah, some potential leaders. Or maybe even Sun Tzu, I don't know. So E5's turn. The pyramids did come out and they're on 2 civil actions, so yeah, I expect him to take it and build the mine and stuff. So now there's no good wonder for Weidenbaum. We'll have to wait for Universals or Silk Road, and Silk Road is already there, so that's nice for him. He takes a frugality. Takes this one to move the deck a bit faster, so that the Silk Road will be on 1 action, I think. I think that's the reason. And then I go for Sun Tzu, not Ash, because I won't be taking any cards on this turn yet, so just do the standard turn. So I don't think, I don't think Ash works great here because I don't have a card yet, so maybe it takes a bit longer to set up. And maybe the fact that Saladin is here also is a reason to go for Sun Tzu, because there's a decent chance I get this Saladin. I don't know if Weidenbaum will take Saladin for 2 because he has to take Silk Road. So maybe he won't be taking Saladin. And that means I could get Saladin really early, and then yeah, Ash is not going to give me any value if I replace him early. Sun Tzu might still give me some values on cards and whatever. So I think that's why I go for Sun Tzu here. Omer is just really awkward with Roman roads and don't like him in general. Don't love Sun Tzu either, but yeah. There is Columbus in the game, no Chichka. Yeah. Also no colony setup really, so not the best Sun Tzu either. I draw medieval army and the vast territories, so and also open borders, perhaps a useful card. But oh, and Hammurabi actually takes Saladin for 3. Not sure why even, because there are some good cards he could have taken, like maybe take the EG and build a lab instead of a stage. Code of Laws is here. I think if you have Hammurabi, yeah, Saladin is better of course, but not that big of an upgrade that you really need to slam him for 3 actions when there are viable cards here. So not sure about that. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for me I think, because I would have liked Saladin. Then Weidenbaum takes the Silk Road, which has dropped to 1 civil action. So him taking the right hand frugality mattered here because it was only barely on the 1 civil action spot. Takes the knights for 2. Also unfortunate because I want this, but of course against Sun Tzu it would be very risky not to. And the second copy of knight is also on the board. So he's kind of forced to do this, otherwise yeah, the knights will drop to 1 and e5 will take the other copy. He has plenty of civil actions, so probably has to take it for 2, but it's not really a problem for him. And then Weidenbaum would be the one without knights against a potential upgrade Sun Tzu tactic, which is dangerous, so he doesn't want to risk this and takes the knights for 2, which does mean he can't go for this Code of Laws. So it's a bit costly perhaps, but what did he do it? Yeah, I had to take the Silk Road and build 1 stage to get out of corruption, I suppose. How did this? Yeah, he had to build a warrior with Boudica, of course, because I'm Sun Tzu. So he didn't have a free population to build a lab, so he built the first stage instead, which will give him some value with these HA cards. So let's see what I do here. I offer the open borders to e5. Don't really want to see the pestilence here. I don't have any reason to think it's going to be good. I don't know at this point. And just so, like, it could be like if I have nothing to do, maybe I just see the pestilence, but I think yeah, having the open border is just more valuable here than seeding a card I don't know is going to be good or not. So I offered it to e5, who won't have the knights, so he should be the least dangerous military wise. And then yeah, I take the knights for 2, of course. I also take this breakthrough and just build lab. Little costly, of course, to take it for 2 with just 4 civil actions, a 4-step wonder to build, and also not taking the Code of Laws, just like Weidenbaum. But yeah, I have this tactic, so I really want the knights. I don't know if I will draw an infantry tactic, so just having this, and then after taking the knights, yeah, I don't have any special science income, no wonder or leader that gives me science. So if I have to take this code and leave the breakthrough, then yeah, when I'm not going to develop both of those anytime soon. So I'm taking the breakthrough to have some science and passing on the Code of Laws, which will be discarded, not the most usual perhaps. And then I draw a bunch more cards. Yeah, there's also Legion, but I'm going for the medieval here. E5 finishes the pyramids and builds a lab. Takes Richland, Iron, yeah, EG as well, yeah. So yeah, pretty nice bunch of value here. He has 6 actions. Gets the Iron for 1 with the Richland for 1 and EG, so very efficient, very valuable here. Has the science for Iron next turn, can go for 2 upgrades. So if he doesn't get in trouble with the military, then yeah, then he's looking very nice already. And then yeah, has to increase population a bit, build a lab, and takes now the second copy of Code of Laws. So he'll have the only one. He used his Frugality A with the Silk Road for some bonus value. Yeah, and having the code is pretty important with the 5-step wonder here. But he also doesn't have a ton of science. He did get 1 extra from Boudica now, right? Scores 1 science, yeah. So he does have a bit of science income, so he should be able to afford these. Also, Silk Road, when it's finished, will give him some more science. I see the call to arms. I will be pushing strength a bit, hopefully with the improved medieval army. Draw even more cards, which is not really what you want to see, because Sun Tzu already has enough cards. And then I also have to increase my population a few times. And I'm reviewing the medieval army so I can keep the vast for Columbus, something seedable, and my defense cards. Of course, it will not be public yet. So I built the first stage and just popped a bit to get out of corruption. I think nothing really important here, but I get the Columbus for 1, which is nice because I have the vast. And then yeah, e5 has no real interest in moving the deck fast because he will have a nice economy setup, but not really the military one. So gets the 2 iron upgrades now, gets a cultural heritage for some science, which is nice, and irrigation. And then e5, Weidenbaum can develop the Code of Laws, finish the Silk Road, and with the free warrior gets a fighting band. Sorry, the free. He already had a second warrior, so he could not build this. And then yeah, he revealed the fighting band, so he's at 3 strength now, and he just finished the Silk Road. Yeah. Again, nothing on the row really, like nothing at all. So very nice for him to have turn to finish the Silk Road now. Scientific breakthrough is seeded by me. Should be maybe 3 science by the time it's revealed. But either way, I feel like I could use science. And I just don't really see the other events being great. Don't have any culture production. Well, Weidenbaum has 2. But yeah, I could have seeded this, of course, because it's still not most important. Dark Ages, I definitely don't want to see it. I have low science income. I won't have a government in H1, so it's way too risky to have this in there. I think I just felt like I needed the science to go for knights and something else, and to have a government later on. Don't know if the alchemist, there's still both copies of alchemy, so maybe I'm also hoping to get one, but will be a bit tricky. Don't know when this will be revealed, but maybe it could be soon. But if the Roman road flips, at least I have 3 signs as well, and nobody else has alchemies either. But yeah, Weidenbaum gets an extra signs out of this for sure. I finished the Roman roads this turn. Also, yeah, still deck is not. There's not really much on the row, so I also get to use this turn to finish my wonder. then just not just increase population. I take this frugality to have an extra population basically, which will be nice with also the vast. So I will have plenty of yellows. So the frugality will actually have the value of basically giving me an extra population. Sometimes it doesn't really work that way because you get to this place in your yellow bank, and then having 2 more food doesn't really do anything. But with the vast, it will I will always remain in this area, be able to use it to get an extra population. So that's why I want to take it here rather than just use my action efficiently. Draw on certain borders and raiders, I think. Also a third colonization card. E5 seeds here. Takes the swordsman. Yeah, kinda has to because he doesn't have knights. And he becomes the strongest for now, while getting the third iron upgraded. So yeah, looks like a nice position already. Weidenbaum will now have to use the Boudica resources, so he gets the extra knight. Well, he starts building a knight, I mean, yeah, even the second one, so he's ready to copy my tactic and get a huge improvement to his strength, which will be maybe a little dangerous for e5. So yeah, I also go for knights now, and yeah, maybe also reason for that frugality was that I can go for a second one. I don't know if I'll do it now. Yeah, I will. So I go straight to 12 strength now and look a bit threatening. I didn't see it here. Yeah, the call to arms is in there, and I was the weakest at this point, and yeah, can't afford to lose half my strength. So I'm not seeding here, and yeah, want to keep this uncertain borders as a seedable event. Want to keep the vast for Columbus, of course, and then just the one colonization card, and everything else goes away. E5 does have the Legion to help him defend, builds an extra swordsman, and takes the bread and circuses for 2 and can even go for 1. Yeah. And takes the rich land. So he uses Saladin for strength here, and with that he's at 11 strength. Because we have the open borders, so if he's at 9, then actually it's 5 difference for an aggression, so he doesn't want to risk this, and so it means he probably doesn't have 2 defense cards. I didn't keep an aggression in hand anyway, I only drew 1 card and it was not an aggression. But yeah, he doesn't want to take the risk and uses Saladin for strength here. It could also mean that he's not the weakest after Weidenbaum's turn, but I don't know if Weidenbaum will improve his strength much now because he cannot copy this tactic just yet. He gets the resources from Boudica, don't know if he can use them, takes Joan for 2, and takes Theocracy. Yeah, so he has to defend for now without this tactic, which he only can copy next turn. And yeah, I think I also saw in the game then that he would have some happy face issues. I think during my turn I already saw that both of my opponents really needed that bread and circuses as a happiness solution, and thought it was quite nice that Weidenbaum would miss out, that e5 would have to take it for 2 and then Weidenbaum would visit. And so he has to take this theocracy, otherwise he will have an uprising problem. And meanwhile I have Columbus, who will of course solve that issue. And then the iron has dropped to 1, so that's good. I can go for 1 upgrade. Even though it's already H2, not gonna wait for coal because Weidenbaum also doesn't have iron, so I don't want to be the second position to have this, and it's here now for 1. I can go immediately for an upgrade, so it's still reasonably efficient. Also, the age has turned, so my scientific breakthrough will be producing 3 signs for me. No cards have been revealed yet. And there is a scientific breakthrough. And yeah, e5 will actually go straight for Universitas, so a bit lucky for us that the scientific breakthrough was revealed before his turn as the only card. Otherwise, he would have 2 more production. Saladin takes the action now, which is a little strange perhaps, because yeah, he only has the 3 unknown H2 draws. So now he is saying he has 2 defense cards from H1 basically. So that's a little strange. Maybe also last turn he could have seen that I would have an uprising problem if I don't activate Columbus. So that was also the reason why perhaps it wasn't necessary last turn. So it's a bit strange that he did this last turn but not this turn. Perhaps he thought the action would not be so useful this turn anyway, but because we're H2 and he would just take an H1 rich land or reserves, but still that's on value, so a bit strange. Yeah, Weidenbaum will of course copy the tactic immediately. He sees the top event and didn't see it. So the event I know about in the deck is Call to Arms, which would have been -1 civil action for him this turn if it was revealed and not after his turn, so it's possible that he saw this. But there are of course also other possibilities like rebellion, especially, or even immigration, or yeah, anything that matters for him being the strongest, of course, or not the second weakest. So yeah, a lot of options here, but he didn't see it into it. And then on his turn, unfortunately, the organized religion was the first card from H2 on the row, and he went for it. Just gets to straight up upgraded, which is a lot cleaner than having to go for theocracy. And yeah, not happy about that. That's a big advantage for him, I think, and that he gets this works nicely with Joan, of course, and not having to go for the theocracy. I don't see it here. Let's see if I become stronger. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. This was an interesting point in the game, I think. So I could just upgrade my mines. That was definitely an option for this turn. But I felt adventurous. I don't know. So I take the strategy for 2 and just build a 3rd army. I don't have anything, no aggression, no war yet, so I don't have anything to take advantage of this strength lead. But yeah, it is a strong position now, especially against e5, who has only 9 strength. Yeah, there is a decent chance that I can punish him. There is also Napoleon as a leader potentially, and if I could get him, then yeah, I'm gonna be very threatening with 6 MAs then and 25 strength. But even now, 5 MAs and 21 strength also puts me in a good position for a war or aggression if I should draw next turn. And I think e5 does not have a great way to catch up just yet. He can spend 2 MAs for 2 strength basically, but then he doesn't have many draws, so less chance for defense cards. So it should be likely that I can aggress him if I draw an aggression, or war him if I should draw that. He can take the Great Wall, probably does, but it will be another turn until it's finished. So meanwhile, I have some chance. But of course, it's a bit of a gamble because if I draw nothing relevant, I do still have the uncertain borders, which can give me something, but that's gonna take a while to get to that payoff, and yeah, I'll have to keep the strength lead. But yeah, I kind of take this gamble and yeah, hope to draw something nice. Because the alternative was also just yeah, upgrade 2 mines, maybe take scientific method, um, and just have an okay growing economy, I suppose. Um, but yeah, I'm on 4 civil actions. I'm already yeah, I'm gonna fall behind on culture against Weidenbaum at least. Um, so I don't, and I think E5 already has an economy lead. So I think playing just the normal game is not really strong enough. So I just go for the strategy, which is of course just also a very strong technology to have. It gives me advantages no matter what. But yeah, also sets up for Republic, by the way, and there is Max in the game, so that that's also an interesting advantage of having this strategy. But yeah, now we'll see if I find some nice draws to take advantage of this position. And no, I draw a good tactic, but no aggression or war, sadly. So this turn, when e5 will be the most vulnerable, I won't be able to take advantage of it, unfortunately. He does indeed go for a Great Wall, goes for 1 upgrade, takes that EG, and doesn't even take the Solid Strength because it probably doesn't make a difference. But sadly, I don't have the aggression. And e5, Weidenbaum goes for the scientific method, takes architecture because he now has a good science income. Can go for a cheaper upgrade next turn, and he doesn't have rocks yet, so yeah, but he has a science going. I think there's Newton in the game. No Newton. Yeah, but still, getting this early is nice. And there are at least some H3 leaders that work well with the science setup. And well, it's just what's available here, of course, and I think it's a nice boost to his economy. He'll also be ready for government now, unless did he produce it? He already produced, but next turn he'll be ready. I see the uncertain borders, and the barbarians come out, which will lose Weinbaum population. He has a free population though, so it's not an immediate pain, but then it's also his last population, so he won't get any more. But he also doesn't have any really urgent needs for any more, so it's still okay. He saw this event as well, but couldn't really get stronger. Just delayed it for a turn. That population, yeah, was already there, so wasn't really any preparation for it. Okay, I take the breakthrough for 2, go for an iron upgrade, and take the architecture. So yeah, I think science, I will need science for sure. I think the breakthrough is important. I still need a government, and yeah, I'll need some techs after that. So I think the breakthrough makes sense. The architecture is interesting. Because it also could just take a reserves. But I'm also on 4 civil actions, so I don't really like having reserves here. Don't have any immediate use for it, like nothing urgent to do with it. But the architecture is of course also a bit shady because I don't have that much science. There is an ocean liner in the game though, so with my low civil action count, the architecture could at least give me the possibility of going for this. There's also Harvard, if I could use it to complete that, and that makes up for the science loss, and again just makes it more efficient. Because currently there's not a whole lot my civilization can do. I don't have population. After putting it all in the military, basically. So taking a wonder is definitely an option here, and for that, I think the architecture could be a good setup. And yeah, of course, it's a valuable tech later on, but it will be a bit costly on my science. But combined with taking the breakthrough, I think it might be affordable at some point, especially for building a wonder. I keep autonomous and inhabited territories. So I have some cards. There's also terrorism now in my draws, but still no war or aggression. So this strength push is not really paying off at this point. It did cost Weidenbaum the barbarians perhaps, but uh, don't really get any advantage for myself. And e5 cannot build a great wall and take the wave. And sadly that means he might be out of the danger zone. Maybe he can't have defense just yet. He will need one H2 defense card at least in his draws or uh, already in his hand, which is maybe not the most likely, but also not that unlikely. But of course I don't have an aggression at this point, and especially by next turn, then yeah, chance will be very low that he can probably do something to get more strength, and by then it's likely that he has a defense card. So unfortunately, I think the moment has passed for punishing e5, and now his nice economy. He has more civil actions and rock production than us. Um, can start taking advantage of that, and he has great wall now for decent strength position later on as well. e5 and Feinbaum seats. Why do I keep messing up? And both my opponents get an extra population. That's not good. Goes for that architecture, gets a cheaper upgrade now. Takes the revolutionary D and the selective breeding, and also builds some more strength thanks to that population that he got from the immigration. So perhaps he was vulnerable to an aggression. Kind of looks like he didn't have the H2 defense card yet, although he discards now all H1 cards. But even then doesn't matter because I don't have an aggression. So yeah, he gets the breeding now. Still waiting for the call though, so that's bad for him. Also no government yet, and he already produced, so he's not yet ready for a government either. Then I see the terrorism since I'm behind on culture, and that's my call to arms, which is now revealed and will at least cost them some civil actions. I will elect Bach here because yeah, I've had Columbus and I've not had a leader for a while. Take the opera and upgrade my third mine. So it's a bit non-synergetic to have the terrorism seated and elect Bach. But yeah, my thought was that I won't go for operas immediately. So for now we both have 2 culture production. So I think I'm still likely to be behind on culture. So that was my thinking. And e5 might actually go for a wonder here, either Eiffel or Harvard perhaps. Well, not actually, without the civil actions he can't. Never mind that. So yeah, I'm just hoping to stay behind him until the terrorism is revealed, and then maybe afterwards go for operas and maybe with this architecture. Although of course I also still need a government. Could have taken Max and gone for a republic perhaps, but the republic is not on the row yet, so it will be don't know when I'll get the value out of this. And after Columbus, I think I just want a leader that gives me some value for a longer time. So yeah, Bach will start producing 2 culture per turn at least. So I think having another one-shot leader is just a bit too poor. But yeah, I'm not really sure about this being the optimal turn, to be fair. Now I draw a war, but it's probably too late because I don't think my opponents will be vulnerable at this point. And e5 offered me scientific cooperation here. And as you see, I accepted. He has 13 science and 4 production, while I have 12 science and 3 production, so it's not the biggest difference. I also have 3 in hand, so I basically have 15 science and 3 production. Of course, one of my production comes from Roman roads. But I was thinking, I see this scientific method coming down the road. I was thinking maybe I can go for that combined with the architecture, and then I already get quite a bit of value out of the pact and have science set up. So I thought this could be a nice way to go for it, and then I will have the architecture developed. Also have it cheaper, thanks to Bach cheaper opera technology. So yeah, the more cheaper technologies you have, the more efficient it gets. But on the other hand, E5 has more civil actions than me, which is also important with this pact. And something I maybe didn't consider enough or thought about thoroughly is that he can go for Max here, and the Republic has appeared on the row, so he gets a free revolution. And then he actually has a whole lot of civil actions extra compared to me, even goes for a justice system now. So he has 2 activations already. And probably maybe a mistake here to accept that pact because it's so nice for him. Of course, he could have gone for Max Republic regardless, which would have been very nice for him anyway. But the problem is he still has a lot of science now, while I'm still catching up a bit. But like I said, I was eyeing this scientific method and I thought long term the pact could still be good for me. And e5 is maybe the best position anyway, but yeah, I think I was hoping that the pact could still be good for me with this scientific method. Weinbaum now goes for Republic and takes Napoleon and navigation. So now both opponents have a lot of civil actions, and I see that inhabited, I think. Sadly, the reds come out, which loses me some food. So at this point, let's just look at the turn. Yeah, I also need a government, of course, so I'm going for this, but then of course my scientific method plan is delayed a bit. And I also take the rifleman here, yeah, because I have the classic army, so I just need a rifleman. Though it's a bit sad to not have this urban road, but yeah, I do have some rocks lying around. But yeah, again, maybe I didn't calculate the packed outcome just optimally because I only get 1 tick out of it now, and going for both is a bit difficult. There is one thing, we each have 1 event in the next stack, so mine is in certain borders. And I thought there were not that many events left, and a lot of the events, because I was Sensu, I saw a lot of events, and many of those I didn't see were strength events, which didn't seem likely seeds for my opponents, because I'm stronger for a while. There are a few colonies which maybe also aren't optimal for them, and not that many of them either. So there weren't a whole lot of events that I could have seeded, and I thought for e5 the most likely one was actually knowledge of the ancients. And then this would make a difference for me getting a little science bump as well, which could allow me to go, for example, for architecture plus scientific method, which would be efficient. So I thought this might be an event that would be in the deck. And actually for Weidenbaum's event, I thought like there were really not a lot of possible events, and I thought Good Harvest and New Deposits were the most likely, because he will be hoping to have an H2 tech setup by the time they come out. E5 goes for cannons now. And upgrades the swordsman. Gets his food production just with the irrigations going, which is a bit late. Gets the rifles, patriotism, urban growth, and the breakthrough. Yeah. So yeah, gets to use the advantage of a lot of civil actions here. And neither of my opponents seed it actually. So the certain borders remain in there. And Weidenbaum actually goes for the breeding first here after electing Napoleon. And then takes an efficient upgrade and frugality. And the fact that he goes for breeding first makes it likely for me that the event is good harvest, which I didn't like because I only have 2 food production, and yeah, it's not really helping me. And yeah, the breeding just got discarded because e5 took so many cards that the breeding actually fell off, which was another thing. Yeah, that kind of surprised me. Perhaps like there were so many. I think the breeding was still here somewhere on my turn, and it actually got discarded because of all the cards e5 took, which is something annoying that sometimes happens in 3-player, especially. I think because there's somebody between you, but there's also 2 discard spots, and it can actually go really fast. Like I said, I had a decent read on which events were in there. Mine is still the uncertain borders, which I would like to see, and the other one that would be nice was the knowledge of the ancients. I didn't want to see a good harvest if that's indeed a 3rd event. But yeah, things were looking ugly at this point because the breeding got discarded because of all the cards taken, and the ocean liner also didn't come out. It's actually the very last card, which was annoying for me because I need to solve my crisis here, and it just yeah, I still need to develop the architecture, so that's what I did here. And I can't now take the ocean liner and build it for 2 actions. If it was anywhere else, I probably think that was my plan, because then it cleanly gets me out of my happy face issue. But sadly, the ocean liner was here. Now, and with the breeding discarded, that's actually very problematic because I think it's likely that e5 will still go for the ocean liner, even though he already has 3 wonders and it's already h3, but he only had these irrigations. And now he can actually go for the ocean liner and complete it next turn because it will still be here. And that means I'm without a population solution. I won't get extra population. And I'm also stuck without science basically, and then with this pact, which is becoming a bit of a death knell. He has a lot more science now, and I don't have the science to go for both scientific method and architecture. So one option would be to just go for scientific method and not do the architecture thing. That was definitely an option. As you see, it's not the one I take. But like I said, I'm feeling really not good about this game at this point. And even with the scientific methods, I'm already falling behind on science. I think he will get 2 activations again. Sure, it could still be good later on, but it does, it just, I didn't like my position at this point, and so I went for something completely different. As you see, I do develop the architecture and the opera. Oh yeah, the problem with that play was also that I would have to probably destroy a warrior to so with the scientific method play because I have to get out of the happiness crisis. And then I'm no longer winning the uncertain borders. I'm actually even losing it. So I was really hoping with the push to get the uncertain borders out, and then I think I go for that play. But it was the uncertain borders, it was instead knowledge of Genesis, and that allowed me for this play at least. So I developed both the architecture and the opera, and move one lab to opera, and destroy the other one actually, and then build another opera with it, which is special. So I go to 0 science, which now means e5 can't develop any technologies as long as the pact is active. So he will have to cancel the pact, which is nice on the one hand. It costs him his politics action, and I get the last activation out of it. I get 2 ticks, and then the pact will have to end. It's also a little not nice that it cancels his politics action, because there's still the uncertain borders in one of the 2 remaining cards, and I would still like to see it before the strength changes. But yeah, I think it's definitely a nice thing to block him with the pact. Of course, it's not a nice thing to be stuck on 0 science for maybe the rest of the game. Could still take a rev ID and go for this later on after the pact is gone, but I also don't have population, so I don't know how viable this is. So that's not great, and yeah, so no population, no science, looks a bit terrible. But there is a silver lining. I go to 12 culture production like this, and we are still very low in culture. I will go to 25 now, and so almost in lead. And my opponents don't have any culture production really, and Weidenbaum still has to set up his goals basically before he can go for anything more. So this culture could actually run away pretty quickly. I should have this culture production advantage for a few turns at least, and then maybe I'm gonna be hard to catch up. And there is Mahatma Gandhi in this game, so of course my civilization does not have a lot of long-term potential, but there is Gandhi, and yeah, I can maybe do the Bach thing and then the hide behind Gandhi for the end of the game. In addition, my opponents have 9 and 8 civil actions and no military setup, only 3 military actions each. One of them comes from their leader. They're basically just on republics each. So neither of them is really set up for war, and so trying to run away with the culture could be nice here. There is Hollywood. It won't be huge because I won't have the science for anything more, but even so, with 3 operas and Bach, it's 24. There's internet as well, same thing. So Manhattan, if I'm desperate for strength anyway at some point, and of course 0 culture production, so I hope it doesn't come to that. Sadly, spaceflight is also not what I'm going to do, but yeah, Hollywood and internet are potential extra culture givers. So yeah, this play has a plan, let's say. Not the greatest perhaps, but it's a plan. So let's go for it. Not really any useful draw here. Unfortunately, e5 cancels the pact by having the international trade agreement with Weidenbaum, even giving Weidenbaum the extra rock. That's not what I wanted to see, of course. Maybe had a small hope that Weidenbaum would reject the pact and lock him unable to develop any text, but like I said, e5 will probably just go for Ocean Liner and build it this turn, so he won't really need to develop any text this turn yet, so if the pact is rejected he can still cancel it the scientific cooperation next turn. And yeah, I think Weidenbaum just appreciates the value of this, so makes sense to accept it as well. And so, like I said, e5 indeed goes for the boat. Didn't have much population, so he gets that. Gandhi is here already, and now I win the uncertain borders, so that's good. Yeah. Weidenbaum actually has a happiness problem as well and has to destroy 1 unit, go for a call, takes multimedia and modern infantry and cavalryman and Einstein. So his plan is now to go for Einstein plus multimedia probably, although he doesn't really have the rocks for it yet. So it will be another turn before he can do that. Probably upgrade 1 more call first, and then the turn after, hopefully for him, go for Einstein and multimedia. which, like I said, gives me a little time at least to build up a bit of a culture lead, hopefully. I see the immigration, and it is indeed a good harvest remaining event. I was afraid of that because it makes my turn worse. I go to 3 leftover food now, which is not what I like. But I thought, yeah, I had some reasons to push the deck. There is an inhabited territory too in the next deck, which I want to get to. And I think my turn was also a little unclean, even without the corruption I will take because of this food. So let's go to the turn first. I'm taking Gandhi for sure, and as you see, I'm also electing him. I'll get to that in a moment. And taking Hollywood and this frugality. So this frugality is just for if I get this inhabited territory, then it can be nice to have this because then it will at least do something again. Although maybe not that much because yeah, but we'll see. There's still a chance it does something, and I didn't care for the other cards basically. This was at least something I could get out of my hands. I also have this economic progress which I might use at some point. But yeah, that's also important. These two events, freedom of movement and economic progress, are very powerful actually. And I definitely don't want to give these to my opponents because my civilization is very limited here. I can build 3 operas and that's it. And yeah, I'm pretty stuck now actually for the rest of the game, let's say. There's not much else I can do. So I don't want to see these events at all because my opponents, unlike me, can do things and I can't. So don't want to give cards that give opportunities to do more things. So I definitely want to take the Hollywood. Can't really risk it falling off, I think, or being taken away. And yeah, otherwise I also don't have the most to do with my actions. Although I was really sad to not be able to take these yellow cards, but if I take a yellow card and not a Hollywood, it's just gonna fall off. And yeah, I kind of had to take Gandhi, and also really want to build this third opera now. Something I didn't mention last term is that my terrorism is still in here. Which of course my plan was at first to stay behind, and then I changed my plan to pulling ahead. But it's also not that bad because, like I said, I have nothing to do anyway, so might as well rebuild an opera, whatever. It's not that relevant even. So that's, yeah, of course it would still be much nicer to have to win it than to not, but yeah, my plan changed to pulling ahead in culture, and so that's what I did. And then there was the question of, can I keep Bach instead of electing Gandhi already? And in the end, I decided I just couldn't risk it. E5 especially has just a too dangerous position here. He can already, especially if military theory comes out. If that comes out, yeah, then he can basically do whatever. There's many ways he can then get much more strength than I can ever hope to keep up with, because yeah, if I get warred, like my only defense is destroying my ions and building a fourth army or something, which is absolutely terrible, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, it was just too risky, and I think Weidenbaum as well. If he gets the military theory, he could even do something, although perhaps not much. No, perhaps not that dangerous, but especially E5 was dangerous. And even without the military theory, there was I saw like some way if he had the defensive army, which wasn't that likely perhaps because he didn't reveal it earlier. But it's not impossible, and if he has it, he can even declare war over culture and just patriotism. No, he needs two for a cannon and the tactic. But yeah, it could be hybrid war or just an H2 war. Um, and I thought it was all not super likely, like that either the military theory gets revealed or and that he has a war and whatever. But it also was still reasonably not that unlikely either, and I thought it was too risky for the three extra culture that Bach provides me. Of course, tree culture is very relevant. I'm trying to pull ahead, and every bit matters. But yeah, in the end, I thought it was just too risky and didn't want to risk war from e5 here. And so I already elected Gandhi. And yeah, I absolutely want this Hollywood because it's just the most efficient way I can still gain culture. Means I don't get this Rev ID, so any hopes of going for scientific methods or something are gone. But yeah, I also don't have population, so it's just that just wasn't really happening anyway. Of course, it could still be nice to have a Rev ID and have some hope of going for something, but yeah, we're not doing that. Terrorism comes out now, so Weinbaum actually loses his church, which is painful for him because he can only rebuild it, and that will slow him down further. He can't upgrade this, so maybe terrorism actually works out fine for me because this hurts Weinbaum a lot, and for me, I'll just rebuild it, and I didn't have use for my rocks anyway, so it's not even that bad for me. And now e5 will also go for a culture production route, taking flaming and building a multimedia. Takes CG reserves, and yeah, has to build another bread and circuses, and takes Ref ID. And yeah, so clearly everybody will now go for full culture mode, but like I said, I'm pulling ahead a bit. Of course, I will have the crappiest civilization, but yeah, I'm just trying to stay ahead. And also, like I said, I have a lot of civil actions. If you look at the card row now, again, e5 plunders it. And yeah, that means the game might go fast, and I can maybe stay ahead just long enough. The military tiers appear now, which is a bit scary, and Weidenbaum does go for it. He has to spend his rocks on the church anyway, so he can develop the military theory. Takes the space flight as well, and he doesn't take as many cards from non-discard spots. I have nothing to seed here. Like I said, I absolutely don't want these events revealed while my opponents can still benefit from them. And impact of balance is zero for me, so I just offer the military alliance to e5. Maybe give him an opportunity for an aggression, or make him. He's more threatening of the two, I think. So just giving him a little edge in going for war or whatever against Weidenbaum. Once he gets this military theory, I mean, yeah. If my two opponents go to war, that would be nice for me. So just giving the more dangerous one an extra edge, so that Weinbaum maybe will be forced to react a bit more. We'll see if they go for something like that. Then, like I said, I just rebuilt the opera, and taking reserves for 2 and building one stage of Hollywood gets me out of corruption. So at least I have another turn without corruption. And then I take both copies of reserves for 2 civil actions. Moves the deck, cards I can play, so yeah, it's just good. Impact of competition here. Now the Inhabited is revealed, and I win it for 8. So that's 1 army and my cards, my H2 cards. And this is nice because, yeah, with the extra population returning here, I kind of said this wrong earlier, but this is how my frugality gets enabled again. So I get 2 extra population out like this, And now I have plenty of population actually, for still not having much to do with them. But yeah, I can at least rebuild this army, and it will solve my corruption issues, so that's at least something. There's a movies available for e5, sadly, so he can get the full flaming bonus, which means he now has a comparable culture production to mine. Also goes for military theory and takes the patriotism, so he is actually looking a bit dangerous with the two patriotisms and the military theory. Weidenbaum offers me tourism. We each have one wonder completed and one being built, so makes sense. E5 has way more wonders and would not accept the pact. And Weidenbaum gets the military buildup, so that will allow him to set up a defense. Has to develop the cannon here. So again, not being productive or super productive. Did get the extra coal upgrade in now at least, but still not producing that much culture. So I'm going to pull ahead a bit more this turn. And yeah, took whatever yellows were there. Prosperity is revealed now. So what do I even do with all this population? 2 farms are just way too much. I'll try with 1 farm next time. So this turn I take Rev ID and Endowment. Again, yellow cards that I can get out of my hands to replace with other cards. The deck will go to 12, and so hopefully we'll be able to finish the game afterwards. Something I didn't mention, I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I have one of these other 2 events, I think, which is autonomous territory. So it's also a very important one that I want to try to win. And as you see this turn, I seeded the economic progress, because like I said, I hope this will be the last turn, or the last turn before final impacts, or before H4, I mean, whatever. Which means there's still opportunity for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seats before me. Which is the last one would then reveal the economic progress. But if I don't seed, there are only 4 seats before, and then the economic progress will not be revealed before H4, before the final turn. Before my final turn, actually. So before, not when any of the others can still use it. That's what I tried to say. So that's why I can see it now. And again, mostly just want to score the 2 points. But if everybody seeds and I don't or whatever, then it's still fairly likely that I even get the economic progress, which won't be as impressive as it. I mean, getting this when the others can't is often a pretty big swing. But in this case, yeah, it won't make that much difference for me probably, but I just want the 2 points, and I want to be sure that they don't get use of it. I find the time to build 1 temple here. So basically I just increased population twice, took the 2 yellows here, and then built 1 temple, and I will then also build some more military again, because I have the population anyway. And yeah, I need to defend against E5 regardless, but also I really want to win this autonomous territory, which can score me 7 points. And yeah, that's it. Getting 3 draws, hoping maybe for a playable impact at some point. I know there are not that many of them, but still there are a few. Especially colonies would be very nice, because I'm winning that one. But there are a few like industry or whatever that are just playable. But of course, for impacts I'm really bad, so there will be plenty of bad ones. But no, but I do get a defense card, which can help for the autonomous. Immigration was the other event, which I also seeded at some point. Then engineering for E5, so he will continue to set up more culture probably. goes for another multimedia. And then also takes this urban road and this pro sports, and I was happy to see this because yeah, he's actually advancing the deck fast now. And yeah, I was really happy that he took 5 cards because that means it's gonna be difficult for Weidenbaum not to anti-age. Although there were a lot of things Weidenbaum could do in his turn that didn't involve taking cards. And if we look at if he doesn't take anything, there are 5 remaining. My hand is full, and so if I have to take 3 cards, it's actually a bit of a problem because I have to play 3 cards and then take 3 cards, but the Empire State will be one of those 3, and then it means I actually can't anti-age, and so I was really scared of that. There is, however, an out. This autonomous territory. This would solve the issue. Would both give me 1 extra action and 1 extra hand space, and that would be more than enough to let me anti-age. But then, of course, I would have to win it, and I would have to seed for it. But I can seed freedom of movement, so that's not that big of a deal. I think Weinbaum didn't seed now, so that means I can see the second event actually without risking the economic progress really being revealed before my final turn when Weinbaum still gets it, for example. So still it would be a little awkward if he doesn't take any cards, because I would be forced to take the autonomous, basically go all in for it, risk aggressions if I have to bid that much actually. So we'll see what he does. So he builds a multimedia now, and yeah, has to catch up a bit in strength as well. Has the military build-up, just builds 2 cannons with it. And then he takes the reserves actually, so yeah, he kind of has to, because he builds the multimedia, kind of impossible not to build it for him, I suppose. And yeah, he needs the reserves to have enough to finish the wonder. Would have been interesting if he thought I can't anti-age, and so he doesn't have to take the reserves because there will be another turn, and then the autonomous is revealed. Would have been an interesting situation, but that's not what happened, and actually I'm still glad that he took it because like I said, then at least I'm certain that I can anti-age. I see the freedom of movement now, so again just for the 2 culture, and the 2 impacts here will be revealed by E5 and Weidenbaum if they both seed, and then I will reveal either the economic progress or the freedom of movement, and it doesn't really matter much to me which one it is. Both will give me something to do, but not a whole lot, so it's just going to be a little advantage. And yeah, either way I get 2 culture just for seeding. I win the autonomous for 13, which is an army plus an extra warrior and my 2 cards. And yeah, I had to do some calculating for what to bid exactly, and if I could afford, most importantly, to take the 7 culture, or had to take the rocks to rebuild, because like I said, I really don't want to risk aggressions. They both have 5 MAs, so they could play armed intervention, and then yeah, my culture lead will just be gone very fast if that happens. But yeah, so I could still afford to take the 7 culture from the autonomous, which is of course a huge deal here, and we'll see the culture in a moment. I play the Rev ID and the Rifleman here. Then first of all I take 2 cards to anti-age, and then I can play 1 reserves and rebuild my military. I still have the classical army, which I can reveal, and that puts me at 24 strength. With the autonomous I have 7 MAs, I have 5 cards in hand, so with 3 more draws I am able to defend and keep 1 card, and Weinbaum can't aggress me, so I'm definitely safe from aggressions here. Because E5 will see my cards on last turn, so if I could not guarantee a defense, he would know that what was in my hands. So like this I have just enough to defend, I have just enough to end the age. I have 12 resources and I need 11 for the Hollywood, so that's also just enough. And then I have one population remaining and one rock remaining basically, so I will build a mine, yeah, just using my one excess rock, spending 2 here, getting 1 back, which will still give me just enough to finish the Hollywood. And then I get again 3 draws, and yeah, they're again useless. Impact of progress, at least it's good that other players don't have it because it's better for them, but that's not a seedable impact. And of the, I have 3 impacts drawn, and of those, competition is actually kind of playable now, so it's 6 points for me, it's 9 points for e5 and 6 for Weidenbaum, so with the seeding it's equal for me and e5 with a bonus for seeding, so that makes it playable, and it will give me +3 for the seeding against Weidenbaum, and also if they both seed, seeding this event will give me either freedom of movement or economic progress, which gives me a little bonus as well. Impact of architecture is revealed now, which scores them both 5 points against me, and then e5 can go for the internet. Yeah, and I didn't really show, I was planning to show you the culture at the end of my previous turn. Like I said, I had a, as you see, I had a pretty sizable lead, but of course, yeah, they both get really big wonders. My Hollywood will be just 18 points, e5's internet was 26, and of course they'll have better impacts, and yeah, Weidenbaum will get a big space flight. So yeah, we'll see the culture after the turn. Government is revealed now. That's not the biggest difference. 2 points for e5. And then Weidenbaum will get 2 techs with Einstein and then finish the space flight for 28 points. And so now I know that either economic progress or freedom of movement will be revealed for me, and nobody changed anything to competition, so it's still playable. And it's the freedom of movement. So I put an iron into rifleman, which gives me 2 points for competition. I then play the endowment for the arts. I play the reserves for rocks so I can finish the Hollywood for 18. Then I'll just use this efficient upgrades, and that's all I can do basically. And after my production I have 164 culture, so I'm 15 ahead of e5 and a little more 28 against Weidenbaum. So I know about impact of competition. Thanks to the extra rifleman, it's now 1 point for e5 and me +2 against Weidenbaum. And then there are 2 impacts by e5 and 1 by Weidenbaum. But of course there are many impacts which can hurt me quite a lot. They have much better looking civilizations than me. First one is agriculture, which isn't bad. So this looks like Weidenbaum's. And yeah, again, thanks to the colonies I won, I actually have the +4 bonus. So I'm only 4 impacts, and yeah, one of them I know isn't very big, so my lead stands for now. Then there's population, that's a lot worse. E5 now comes to 9 points closer to me, and there's still an 11-point gap between them. And then there's variety, and again, this is a good impact for them, but they're still behind me, and it's just a 3-point difference. And like I said, competition is 1 point for e5, and so I win by 2 points, and by 14 points against Weidenbaum. So again, a super close game, and somehow my my crappy civilization, uh, yeah, this is the winning board. um, yeah, so the plan of going completely for a culture lead actually worked out pretty exactly. uh, it looked really dire for basically all of H2 and H3. Uh, don't think my position looked nice at any point really. I was just trying to stay ahead in culture, managed to get those colonies, which was important. Yeah, and so Bach and Gandhi just got there. All right, and with that, I have another win. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the standings now because two other three-player games finished pretty much simultaneously, and yeah, we'll see the standings after those. But I'm very happy with this win. I think like before this I had um, 13 points. With this win I have 18, which is actually exactly the average one would have after the full set of 8 games. So it means I'm not going to perform below average in this group, and that's a success in itself, I think. So yeah, next up will be in a few days the triple commentary, and yeah, I'm sure that will be very interesting and exciting, and yeah, maybe we will have then uh, some kind of conclusion or indication of conclusion of the season and of who will become the world champion. So yeah, see you next time. Bye.